Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be sharing my September book haul with you. I've got my vampire mug of tea to give me energy throughout this haul. As you can see, I'm feeling pretty festive. I'm very excited that we are finally in autumn, which is my favorite season. I feel like my book haul definitely reflects how much I love autumn. Like a lot of these are like thrillers or, fantasy or just like the kinds of things that I really love reading once the weather gets a little bit cooler. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think that this actually is a smaller book haul than I have had as of late, though it is still kind of large. But I'm really excited about the things that I got. And before I talk about the books, I just want to show you guys. Heather from Nerdy by Nature blog sent me this Raven Boys book sleeve, which I am so excited about. This was in the most recent Owl Crate box, and I love the Raven Boys so much. And I saw this, and I've been reading her blog for a long time, so I commented on her blog, and I was like, oh my god, love the book sleeve, Raven Boys. So she ended up messaging me, and she was like, I haven't read the series, and I'd rather pass it along to somebody who loves it. So do you want it? And I was like, oh my god, yes. So she ended up mailing it to me. It has Ugly and Bee Academy on the front, and then the back has art of Blue and her boys. I'm so excited. I think this is so beautiful. I obviously, I love all of the Raven Boys stuff, but I think that this is especially gorgeous. I really love this side of it the most. It's just so pretty. Thank you so much, Heather. I'm gonna leave a link down below to her blog and to her Instagram. Like I said, I've been reading her blog for years now. She reads so much. So I love her monthly wrap-ups. You guys should definitely go and check her out. All right, now the question is, do we start with new releases or do we start with some books that I've wanted forever that are finally in my possession? I think that I'll start with the two books that have been on my wish list for the longest, and then I'll move into new releases, and I have a lot of really pretty editions to share this month, so here we go. So after I posted my special edition book wish list, someone had left a comment saying that there is a bookseller in London called Anderida Books, and they still had hardcover copies of Kings of the Wild and Bloody Rose in stock. So I immediately went to that website, I immediately purchased them, and they actually arrived so quickly. I was really impressed with the shipping speed on these. They definitely were pricey, but I've literally wanted these forever. I'm so happy. So first we have a hardcover copy of Kings of the Wilds by Nicholas Eames. This is one of my favorite books ever, and I just can't believe that I have a hardcover. And I actually probably should have waited another week to film this haul, but I wanted to film it now so that I could immediately get this and Bloody Rose on my shelves over here somewhere, because it deserves to be front and center. And these actually also came signed. So this one says Be Kind, and it's signed by Nicholas Eames. And then I also have Bloody Rose, and the pages are sprayed red. I love it. I'm so excited to have these. It's they just make me so happy. This one is actually a numbered edition too. It's signed, and it's number 397 of 500 copies. I'm so excited. So again, these are going straight on my shelf. I'm so excited. I'm finally going to be reading Bloody Rose in October. If you haven't read the series, do it. You'll just thank me. Just trust me. And along with those, they also sent a whole bunch of artwork. So this is a little owl bear. So cute. But there's a ton of them, a ton of cards with art. I'm not going to show all of them because there's a lot. So yeah. Now moving into newer releases and very pretty editions. My first one is a combination of both of those things. So Orbit Books just released the 10th anniversary edition of Leviathan Weeks by James S.A. Corey. Oh my god, this book is stunning. I really hope that they'll release the rest of the series in these absolutely gorgeous hardcovers. Pages are neon pink. The spine is this beautiful metallic pink. I am in love. This is so pretty. And then if you take this off, which I'll actually show, so that is below the jacket. And then on its own, this is also just stunning. Oh my gosh. I love it. And then the end papers are so pretty too. So excited to have this one. So I read Leviathan Weeks a whole bunch of years ago. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars, and then I never continued reading. And now I feel I'm very much in the habit of reading like longer series and like really long books and being okay with it taking me a while to complete books, especially when they are like longer. So I want to reread this. Probably, I think, so the thing is, like, I think I'm gonna reread this after I finish reading Wheel of Time because I don't want to be in the middle of two, like, really long series at once. So that's the plan there. Then I have the really pretty 10th anniversary edition of The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This one is from Waterstones, and I love, love, love this blue color. It's so gorgeous. I actually haven't read The Song of Achilles, but I did read Circe, and I absolutely loved that book. So I have been wanting to read this one, and I didn't own a copy of it, so I thought this was a good one to pick up. The end papers are really gorgeous. Very excited to have this one in my collection. I feel like I'm growing like a really nice collection of Greek mythology inspired books and stuff. I actually have like a couple more things that I'll be showing a little later in the haul. Then Minalima released their newest classic. They did Wizard of Oz. They do these like gorgeous interactive classics and they are just absolutely stunning, and I've gotten every single one that they've released so far. I think that they are just completely worth it. They're probably my favorite editions of classics that I own. Love them. That's the end pages on those. And it's just like fully illustrated. Like there are so many illustrations in here. And then there are fun little things like, like pop out things. Ooh, there's actually like full blown emerald glasses in here, which is so cool. But yeah, they just do an incredible job. So yeah, that was like an insta buy. Then I got the Fairy Loot edition of XOXO by Axie-O. I've been dying to read this one. It is a YA contemporary. Oh, it also has blue sprayed pages. It's very pretty. It has a signed book plate in there. So the girl is like an award-winning cellist and she lives in LA and she has this like amazing night with this guy, and it's like the last night that he has before he flies home to South Korea. And then flash forward, her grandma ends up getting sick and her mom and her move to South Korea to take care of her. And who does she run into but this guy? And it turns out that he's actually in like the biggest K-pop band in South Korea, and sounds like it's gonna be so cute. Then I also got the special edition of Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. This one I think I ordered from Book Depository. It's the anniversary edition. I thought that this one was so interesting. I like actually really like this cover. I think it is super gorgeous, but it's so different and matches nothing in the Shadowhunter world. Like it just seems so unusual, but I think it's beautiful. I'm pretty excited about it. The hardcover is just like plain white. And then the spine is actually a gold, so I feel like that will fit in better on my shelf because the rest of the Shadowhunter books tend to be like darker. But yeah, I mean, I just couldn't. I had to. Yeah. Then I got this book, and I'm sorry, I have no idea how to pronounce this title. I will try my best, but please don't tear me apart in the comments because I'm sure I'm going to say this wrong. I think it's Ghibli. I don't know. But basically it's the unofficial guide to the movies of Studio Ghibli. So the whole thing just like goes through every single film that Studio Ghibli has done. And I have been wanting to rewatch all of the Studio Ghibli films for like a while now. But I think that once we finish Star Trek, we're actually gonna like do it. So I wanted to have this as like a companion and read it along as we watch the films. Then we got The Wilds Beyond the Witchlight, which is a D&D book. We have quite a few D&D books at this point. Our collection is like really expanding. This one is like a module adventure, but it's a Feywild adventure, so obviously had to pre-order that one. There is like a very cool map at the back, but you have to like tear it out to open it, and I haven't done that yet, and I don't want to do that right now. Ooh, look at that door. That looks fun. I always like really want to read these, but then I also don't because in case Andrew uses them in any of our games, I don't want to be spoiled on things, but I am like pretty excited about the aesthetic of this one. Then I picked up These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. I don't know too much about this. All I know is that I heard that it was good for people who like ACOTAR, and I obviously love ACOTAR. I believe it is a romance fantasy series, and I believe that there are fairies, but again, I really don't know much about this one. I kind of want to go into it blind, but it's gotten like really great reviews, so very excited. Then I just want to show a couple books that I got from publishers. Most exciting is this one, Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lin Tan. This is one of my most anticipated books for 2022. I am so excited about this one. It's an adult fantasy. It's coming out from Harper Voyager, and it is inspired by the Chinese legend of the moon goddess. I believe we're following the moon goddess's daughter, and also like so I think it's a duology, and the series name is so good. It's called like The Celestial Kingdoms. I like just truly think that I'm going to love this. And they just also showed the UK cover for this the other day. It's really pretty, but I actually like the US one better for once, which is very surprising. Cannot wait to read this. Then Del Rey sent me a copy of Ronan. This is by Emma Mieko Candon, and I believe that this one actually ties into the Star Wars Visions show that is currently on Disney Plus. It's kind of like a Star Wars anime. We are following this character Ronan, and I believe it's like a series of shorts. So I'm curious if this is going to be like short stories or what the deal is, but I'm also like pretty excited. Ronan is a Sith, so I think it'll be like kind of a darker story, and I mean, it looks great. Then Simon & Schuster sent me a finished signed copy of These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, as well as an arc of the conclusion to the duology, Our Violent Ends. I actually haven't read either of these. Again, this one came out last year when I was in a reading slump, so I never got around to it, but it is a historical fantasy, and it's inspired by Romeo and Juliet, and it's also an Asian fantasy, and I feel like I'm going to end up loving it. Then Penguin Teen sent me The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. I love holiday romances, and I can't wait to pick this one up closer to December. It sounds like it's going to be so adorable. It actually follows a girl who is a book blogger, so that's pretty relatable, and she lives in a small town called Holly, located in New York, and she is working at an inn to make some extra money. There was actually a very famous movie that was filmed there called Holiday by the Lake, and while she's there, the owner's nephew Teddy starts working there, and the two of them like immediately clash. They hate each other, and one day they accidentally switch phones, and then they end up learning like a whole bunch about the other person, and I mean, clearly they're going to fall in love. It's gonna be so cute. And then I was also sent a copy of Beasts and Beauty, Dangerous Tales. This is by Soman Tonani, who did that Good and Evil series. What was that called? School of Good and Evil. I've always wanted to read that. I think I need to do that at some point. That's like a middle grade series, but this is all fairy tales, and I actually like, this book hadn't been on my radar at all, but when it arrived, I was like, wow, I really think I'm going to love this. It looks super beautiful, and then also like it's illustrated. So we've got like Hansel and Gretel there. It just goes through like all of these different fairy tales. So we've got Jack and the Beanstalk, we've got Rapunzel, we've got Sleeping Beauty, we've got Snow White. I'm pretty sure I saw Peter Pan in here too. Red Riding Hood. I think this is going to be just like a quick, like really fun fairy tale read. So thank you to Harper for sending me that one. Then I have a couple of thrillers. So Random House actually sent me the third book in the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. This one's called As Good as Dead. This is actually the final book in the series, so this completes the trilogy, and I have started listening to the first one on audio, and it's really good so far, and I feel like I'm just gonna like binge read the series. It's so much fun. This is definitely a good YA murder series if you are looking for that kind of thing. Then I have For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. I actually already read this one, so you'll hear more about it in my August wrap up. Did I say this was what month is it? September. Wow, September's over. You'll hear more about this in my September wrap up. This one takes place at a prestigious prep school, and there are a bunch of murders that are happening, and it's actually like very different than other thrillers in the sense that it doesn't really feel like very suspenseful. It's more like, it's more humorous, like dark humor, obviously, because there's like murder going on, but it is fun, and there's a lot of like really bad people in it. There are a lot of really innocent people that get caught up in things, but it was a really fun read. It was very quick, and all of the chapters are like super short, which definitely like makes me read things more quickly. I liked it a lot. Then I also got In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. This is by Ashley Winstead. This is another one that kind of has dark academia vibes. It's another thriller, and it follows a group of college friends. I think there are 6 of them, and they end up meeting again for a reunion, and there is an unsolved murder from back when they were at school together. So I feel like things will kind of resurface during their reunion. reunion. Then just like sticking with the thriller theme, we've got The Ivies by Alexa Dunn. I've been so excited to read this one since I first heard about it. I mean, and then since I saw the cover, I was like, yes, that sounds amazing. It follows a group of students who are all like competing to get into Ivy League schools, but obviously there's some murder happening. It's another one that probably has like dark academia vibes, and I feel like I'm really going to like it. I've also heard it compared to Gilmore Girls. It's also blurbed by Dana Mealy, who wrote People Like Us, which I read and did really enjoy. So I have high hopes for this one. Then another thriller, I have Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. And I think that this one is a little bit different because there's a murder that happened when these kids were like 16, they were at school, and the best friend of the girl knows like what actually happened the entire time but hasn't said anything. And I think that like the guy who is a serial killer has like become very rich and famous, and I think she's like ready to expose him now, and I don't know, we'll see how it all plays out. Then I have The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This is another one that I've heard fits in well with dark academia. It's one that people have been talking about constantly, though I did finally just read like a couple of negative reviews of it, so I'm trying to kind of adjust my expectations, but I believe it follows like a society of magicians. I also think it's a self-published book, which I don't tend to pick up very often, but I've just been seeing it so much that I finally was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. Then I picked up The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel L. Jensen. I've been meaning to read this book for so long. I think the cover is like really pretty, but I've heard really good things about it. My friend Alexa read it recently and she ended up loving it, so that kind of convinced me to take the plunge and purchase myself a physical copy. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly certain that this reads more like a new adult kind of fantasy, and that these are companion books. So this is the first book follows a set of characters, and then the second book follows a different set of characters. It might be like kind of like a romance kind of fantasy. Pretty excited to check this out. Then speaking of romance fantasy, but actually urban fantasy, I picked up Archangel's Kiss and Archangel's Consort by Nalini Singh. I read the first book in the Guild Hunter series this past month. I absolutely loved it and I cannot wait to continue on, so I picked up the next two. I would not be surprised if I read more than just the next two in this next month. I could like absolutely see it happening because I am really, really enjoying it. Then I have The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. I never read this, but this is also a collection of fairy tales. I believe that they are super dark. Angela Carter like retold them, and this book has always been on my radar, but I found this like really pretty edition of it, so I decided to order myself a copy. And I also really like the end papers, and it's also blurbed by Neil Gaiman. Then I have The Hod King by Josiah Bancroft. This is the third book in the Books of Babel series. I read the first one, Senlin Ascends, back in August. Absolutely loved it, and I'm going to try to start the second book before the end of September, and then hopefully finish that one in October, and then read this one in October too, so I will be caught up for the final book in the series, which comes out in November. And I've also been reading these along with Holly from Holly Hearts Books. She's been doing a Books of Babel read along, so I've been trying to follow that, though I ended up reading Jade City in September, so I kind of fell behind. That's why I'm not starting Arm of the Sphinx until a little bit later, but I am really looking forward to going back to it because I did love the first book like so much. I also picked up Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. This is a fantasy book that I have been meaning to get to for so long. It came out last year and I just like never ended up getting a copy because, again, reading slump. I've been reading a lot of Orbit books lately. I think that they've just been doing like such a great job with all of the books that they've been putting out. I've been so invested in like everything that I've read from them, so I wanted to make a point to pick this one up, especially while it's still available in hardcover, because adult fantasy hardcovers tend to disappear and then they're really hard to come by. So I definitely want to read this one, and the second one came out kind of recently, like within the past like month or two or couple months. So yeah, this is also a priority for me as well. This is so heavy. I got this really pretty edition of, it's actually an illustrated edition of Mythology by Edith Hamilton. I read this like a year or two after I graduated from college, so like really long time ago, but I absolutely loved it. It just is all of like the stories of Greek mythology, and I just thought that this was such a gorgeous addition. And like I said before, I feel like I'm building quite a nice collection of mythology reads, and I thought that this would be like the perfect thing to put on my shelf because my The copy that I did have was like an old paperback that was like a little bit falling apart, and this one is just like stunning, so I thought it was like a really good upgrade. And I'm also like really, this is what it looks like underneath the jacket. It's like this gold, but I'm also like really excited to see the illustrations in it. There's like an example of an illustration. This is a map of the journey of Odysseus. And there's also like little illustrations throughout too. The Minotaur and Theseus. So yeah, I am gonna have to reread this. And then I also got the second Stephen Fry book, which is called Heroes. I showed the first one in my book haul last month, which was called Mythos. And you probably won't be surprised if I pick up the third one in October and it's in that haul. But these are just all Greek myths that are reimagined by Stephen Fry, and my friend Rachel, Lady McCrystal, she also told me that the audiobooks are really good. So I think I want to listen to these on audio and read along physically so that I can see like the book too, because they're just like so pretty. Is this really pretty green underneath the cover? Very excited to read that. Maybe I'll have to have like a Greek mythology month or something. I'll have to like pick a good time to do that. Down to my last couple of books. So first I have a copy of The Alchemist by Paul Coelho. I might be saying that wrong. I recently went to Fire Island for my brother's bachelorette party. It was like a combined thing, and they had a little free library there, and my sister-in-law Amanda's, they're married now, my sister-in-law Amanda's friend Melissa had a tattoo from The Alchemist. She was telling us that it's her favorite book ever, and then Andrew and I went for a walk the next morning and I happened to find it in their little free library, so I decided to pick it up and give it a shot. It's actually like a pretty short book, so I think I will read it fairly quickly, but I'm excited to check it out. Then Alexa gifted me her ARC copy of The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I've been hearing such great things about this one. I know that it started as Raylo fan fiction, so I'm going to have to like put that out of my head while I read it, since I am not somebody that likes Raylo together. Just throwing that out there. But I do hope that I will enjoy this romance book because I do like the premise of it. I like that it's like science-based, and it sounds like it's gonna be cute, so I have high hopes for it. Then I got the Thangs graphic novel by Sarah Anderson. I thought that this would be a really good read for October, just like a quick, fun graphic novel. I believe it's about a vampire and a werewolf who are in love. That's the only reason that I had hesitated on buying it for so long, was because werewolf. But I've decided to try to move past that, and I'm really hoping that I will end up liking this as much as other people seem to. And then lastly, I have this Avatar: The Last Airbender graphic novel. Toph Beifong's Metal Bending Academy tend to pick up the Avatar comics when they're released in library editions, but they've been doing these like smaller one-off kind of original graphic novels instead of like the ones that are continuing the storyline. So I've been having to grab those in paperback, and I just like stumbled upon this one the other day and I was like, wait, I don't have that, so now I do. And I have to read it. So those are all of the books that I picked up in September. I have quite a few of them here. A lot of the books that I did pick up I have already read in the past because I did get a lot of like nice special editions of things. Publisher sent me like a lot of things that I'm really excited to read too. So I feel like I've got a lot here, a lot more than I anticipated on having, but I am really like excited about every single book that I talked about today. Let me know if you read anything that I showed off in my haul, if you're excited for anything that I showed off, and also let me know some of the books that you picked up this month. So that is all that I have for this video, and I will see you guys soon in a new one. Bye!